What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty behind the camera from Ty Drives, and this is the 2022 Audi Q7 with the 45 powertrain. It has the turbocharged 4-cylinder under the hood and the premium trim level. So it's a very conservatively optioned Q7. So we kind of get to see what the base sort of Q7 looks like. Now throughout this video, we're going to take a walk around and show you all of the features starting on the exterior. We'll then pop the hood and discuss the powertrain options since there are two. Pop the trunk, see what kind of cargo area we're working with. We'll then look at all 3 rows of seating. So we have the 3rd row seats, the 2nd row seats, and finally we'll make our way to the driver's seat and kind of go over all the features in between. And since not a lot of videos show you the base Q7, I am here to do just that. So without further ado, we'll start up front with the headlamps, where we have LED units for both the high and low beams. We also have LED daytime running lights where they're kind of integrated within the high and low beam bulbs. And we also have our turn signals up there too. Headlamp washers come as standard, as well as parking sensors front and rear. As you can see, the sensors span the front bumper. And you can also see that this car is optioned with the convenience package. And you can immediately notice that because this car has the 360 degrees view camera system. We have a nice long hood with some pretty cool creases in it. And these are the base wheels that you get on the Q7. They measure up at 19 inches. They have some pretty good sidewalls with the tires because the Q7s are actually meant to have up to 22-inch wheels. So having a nice smaller set of wheels on this car will greatly increase the ride quality. As you can see, the tires measure 255/55. All the cladding around the wheels and down the side are body colored, which looks very nice. We have chrome trim around the windows and some nice bright work down the side towards the bottom. As you can see, more cameras up underneath the mirrors. You have turn signals and the blind spot monitoring on your mirrors. We also have the smart key entry system on all the 4 door handles. Just tap to lock and put your hand behind the handle to unlock. Same wheel and tire setup back here. This car stickers for just about $61,000 in case you were wondering. We have a nice spoiler out back, shark fin antenna, roof rails, and the panoramic sunroof. We have full LED tail lamps back here, so we have LED turn signals, the cool, sequential turn signals, and we have LED tail lamps, brake lights, all kinds of stuff on all LED back here. We have the Q7 and Quattro badging back here, and our secondary brake lights, so in case for some reason your upper lights go out, these will illuminate, so you're without, you have brake lights no matter what, and also rear fog lamps too, integrated in these lower units. We have hidden exhaust tips up underneath, and again your parking sensors, trunk release, and the reversing camera is underneath the Audi rings. That pretty much does it for the features on the exterior. What do we think of the styling on the base Q7? Now you can really load these Q7s up to have all kinds of features. But I figured since there aren't a whole lot of videos on the base Q7 out there, I'd give you a quick look at them because I know there are people out there for this conservatively optioned Q7. Alright, so under the hood of this particular Q7, we find the 45 powertrain, which means, according to Audi, this has the 2-liter turbocharged inline 4. Power figures come in at 248 horsepower, which doesn't sound like a whole lot for a car of this size, but has 273 pound-feet of torque. So, pretty good torque figures for this vehicle, and we'll get to see what this feels like on the road. Now, in a completely separate video I will be uploading at the same time of this video, I will include a first-person point of view drive. I'm going to strap the GoPro to my head and we'll see what it's like to drive this vehicle. Now, of course, Audi does offer a couple of bigger engines for the Q7. They have a 55 powertrain, which is a turbocharged V6, at about 335 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. And if you're looking for even more power, they have, of course, the SQ7, which is a 500 horsepower twin turbocharged V8 monster. But for now, we are working with this powertrain, and I have driven one in the past, actually quite a few of these 4-cylinder Q7s in the past, and it actually makes some pretty good power out on the road. So, of course, the Q7 will come standard with a full powered liftgate. I have a couple of buttons up here to close it down and close the trunk and also lock the vehicle. Once we get into the trunk, with the third row folded, you have quite a bit of cargo space. Now, below the cargo floor, you have your tire inflation kit. And you also have buttons here to fold up the third row seats. So the third row seats are powered, which is pretty nice. And once you do that, you have the headrest that you can fold up. And there's still a decent amount of space behind the third row seats as well. And you also have some cargo extensions to the side and LED lighting to either side as well. Now, this car also did have the cargo mat, which is a rubber cargo mat that lays over the third row seats, and it also had a cargo cover which lays over the third row seats. So if you plan on using those, just a heads up, you cannot have the third row seats up with both of those installed. Alright, so next up we can take a look at the rear cabin of the Q7. Now, very much so soft to the touch materials back here. All the way up here from all the way down here is a pretty much soft to the touch material. And we also have 10 speakers with the most basic audio system that you can get in this vehicle, so that's pretty neat. We have some wood accent and your door handle, as well as a little garbage pouch. You could put little wrappers and things like that, and also remove it and clean it out. And a little, I should say, pretty large storage tray down below. You can see the size of the panoramic sunroof back here, which is pretty large. Continues all the way from the front to the rear headrests, which is pretty nice. And the second row seat is a full bench. And the way you gain access to the third row is you simply pull this handle here, make sure the seat latches in place. As you can see, that's what it looks like when it's folded down. The second row seats fold at a 40-20-40 split. And then you can just push this little handle here and tug up on it. And it actually folds up most of the way by itself, thanks to these little struts back here. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of room for the third row seat. It's really just kind of meant for maybe storage or smaller children. So there's not a whole lot of room. However, if you didn't really need to pack this car up with people, you can actually slide the second row seats forwards a little bit, obviously sacrificing a little bit of room in the second row seats for the third row passenger's sake. Now, on either side, you also have another set of buttons to fold down the seats back here, so you kind of have a combination of people storage and actual, item storage back here. But you have cup holders and little storage trays back here, so it's not too bad of a place to be. Also some LED lighting. Pretty easy to fold the second row seats back into place. For the most part, it is a one-hand process. Now, one thing I really like on the Q7s too is they actually give you these little panels here that hide the cargo, or I should say the child seat tie downs. Pretty neat. You could also fold this center portion. There's a little tether right there. Also fold this down for an armrest with a couple of cup holders back here. And we'll hop in and see how much room we have back here. And this seat that I am sitting in is pretty much as far back as it goes in the tracks. And of course, I have plenty of room, at least 4 inches of legroom back here. We have a little bit of a drivetrain hump, but you can definitely fit a third passenger back here as well. And you also have climate controls for the third zone. We have a 12 volt and 2 USB-C inlets for charging. And it's a very roomy place. Nice big windows, so it gives you kind of an airy feeling. And of course you have that big sunroof back here. We have these tap illumination back here. Just a very large feeling car in the first and second row seats. And one more thing about the Q7s. When you shut the door in the back, it is the most solid sounding door I've ever heard in my life. Alrighty, so finally we could take a look at the front row here. A couple of more buttons to the front door panel, but generally the same design. We have 2-person memory seats for the driver's seat. Individual child locks for the rear, power folding and heated mirrors, and a little trunk release down there, and some good amount of storage. Pretty large speaker on the door too. We have leather on your armrests. Taking a look at the left of the dash, we have our headlight controls and all-weather lighting, a little bit of storage. And next to that storage tray, we have the tilt telescoping button for the steering column, fully powered in and out. We also have our pedals and the hood release down there. A 4-way lumbar for your seats. And pretty nice leather even for the most basic seats on the Q7. We also have adjustable headrests, of course. Now let's take a look at the main features of the driver's cabin. Alright, so here's the key for the Q7. Pretty traditional, nice slim Audi key fob. We have the lock unlock trunk release on the face of the key and the panic alarm on the back with a little slider to kind of slide the physical key out in case you need it. And a nice little slot that they put right in the center there for your key, and push button ignition, of course. As soon as you start the car, all of your memory settings come into place, such as your powered steering wheel, which is very nice. And first things first, we could check out the steering wheel. Very smooth leather and nice stitching for the steering wheel. We have all of our sort of media buttons over here for the telephone, the voice command, skipping for your track, and the audio volume. And we also have a programmable button, so we can kind of go within the infotainment screen and sort of program what you want that button to do. And over here we have all of the virtual cockpit buttons. We have our cruise control stock down below, and our turn signals, high beams, and our lane keep on and off button at the end there. And then we also have our front and rear wipers stock to the other side. And of course the Q7 does come standard with the virtual cockpit, which is very nice. We could again use those buttons to the left of the steering wheel to configure the screen. We can press view at any time to get extra information, and scroll up and down in the driver's information screen to get different menus to see. The driver's assistance can turn on and off, and different things like the traffic signs and things like that you could display while you're driving. You move over to the radio and telephone screen, as well as the famed navigation screen, so you can press view at any point throughout these screens to kind of minimize or maximize different informations within the virtual cockpit. Upper dash is nice and soft to the touch. You have a couple of speakers up here too, even for the most basic sound system. And that brings me down to the main infotainment screen. So, all touchscreen and everything for both of the upper and lower screens. We have sort of a main home screen, which gives you a kind of jumbulation of what the radio, telephone, and navigation is doing, which is very nice. We can kind of uniquely go into each screen, kind of just to show you what they look like. They have all of the different sources. We have the media and phone screen, as well as the navigation. And this is where you enter your navigation destination. The phone apps has to do with the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We also have the vehicle screen here, which is nice. Kind of brings up all of your driver's assistance functions. We kind of go through and pick and choose which ones you want or don't want activated, and various other things of that nature which you can adjust yourself. We also have the general settings over here, various things that you can control with the sound. And over here is just a few other different screens, such as the users. You can kind of select different users. So if you and your wife are driving the car, you get in, just press the users button, and you can shift it over to all of your settings. You can also swipe from the top to adjust your sound settings and various things like that. Taking a look down below, this screen mainly has to do with the climate control. So you have temperatures to either side, as well as your different areas, and the fan speed in the center. A couple of different controls towards the bottom too, such as your heated seats. You can also press the extras button here to bring up your heated steering wheel, and some other various settings. We have sync and recirculating down there as well. And towards the top are kind of the only buttons non-related to climate control. So we have our auto start stop on and off, the hill descent control, your garage door openers, and just to shut off the upper screen here, as you see. A couple of physical buttons below the screen, such as your drive select mode, which is pretty nice. You have a couple of modes to choose from, and an individual mode where you can adjust those two different things. Traction control on and off. We have our hazards button and our quick defrosters. A couple of buttons even below that, such as your start stop for the engine, and also the cameras button. So this has the convenience package, which means you get all of the fancy camera systems, which is pretty nice at a pretty good price point, that is. So all of the different camera views. We have a wide angle front view, just a front view, the top-down view, the reversing view, wide angle reverse, and the front and rear wheels. And no matter what you press over there, sort of the top-down 360 view will come up. But kind of a party trick is the 3D view. Take a look at that. So you can kind of look at all the way around the car in a sort of 3D view, which is pretty neat. Very high-tech camera system in this vehicle. We also have this button opposite to the camera button for the driver's assistance screen there. A volume knob, and you can also skip between the different tracks with that same knob as well. 8-speed torque converter transmission. You can put it right down into drive and then sort of put the car into a manual mode, or while you're in drive you can bump it down and put it into a sport mode, and we can put it all the way up for reverse. As you can see, your cameras will pop up, and then press the P for park, and you also get the electronic parking brake. Over here we have a couple of cup holders and a 12-volt power outlet. Nice armrest, which you can also adjust the height to and pick it up for some storage. You have a couple of USB-C inlets in there, and thanks to the semiconductor shortage, this particular car does not have the Audi phone box, which means the wireless charging. So this particular car will not have that. In normal instances, it will. I have a nice passenger area here with the Quattro emblem, lockable glove box with everything in there. Pretty large glove box. I have an auto dimming day and night mode mirror with this little button here, as well as a compass, and it's frameless, so it looks pretty nice as well. The center stack up here has all of your lighting controls, so the tap illumination, SOS emergency controls, and the sunroof sunshade controls. So we're going to put the sunshade back so you can see what that looks like fully open. So it is a pretty large sunroof, and this portion here will both vent and slide back with the separate button right here. So now it's fully open. Very large sunroof, as you can see, and pretty cool sun visor situation here. So you have a main visor that folds down like so, and if you fold that to the side and you still want another visor, you can just fold it down like that, so you have two different visors. And on the main one you have a mirror with light, and can't forget grab handles. So that pretty much does it for the features of this vehicle. Now I definitely invite you over to my channel, Ty Drives, to check out the first person point of view driving video that I will also upload. This will be a pretty cool one because I think that not a lot of people film or get videos of the 4-cylinder Q7. And when this first came out, I was kind of curious on how a 4-cylinder would do in a car of this size. It actually does pretty good, so definitely make sure you check out that video. But I thank you for watching this one, and hope you stay with us here at Ty Drives for more videos just like this one.